Happy Camper Radio, episode 15. Come on, let's go camping. Hello, everyone, and welcome back once again to the Happy Camper Radio Show. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and you, my friends, can be one too. Welcome back to the studio, Daniel.
Yay!
Hey, you know something? This has been the place to be. You ought to come over here and hang out more often. You know, I have been in this studio all week long. In fact, just about every single day I've been hanging out in here. This is just, you know, it is so relaxing, and I really think the idea that we can look out here into these green, beautiful green leaves is what makes this whole operation just the place to be.
Well, you just set up a futon and I'll be over here. I'll sleep every night. I love this new carpet.
Yeah, I know you do. Look, you took your shoes off. Oh, my heavens.
Feels good.
Thank God we're not doing this show live, you know. I'm telling you, especially with a camera. No, I don't think that will work.
I like how you made a place for our campfire in the middle of it so you can light it up. So it still feels like we're
in fact, you know what, Daniel? I'm going to go ahead and pass the honors on to you this afternoon, okay? Because I think, you know, you would really enjoy this. So take the ceremonial campfire lighter. I've got hickory. I have got some oak. And what else do I got? Smell that aroma? Cedar, Daniel.
Oh, I love cedar.
Yeah. Cedar does it. It really does the trick.
You ever put those in your drawers and stuff to, like, make your drawers smell good and, like, put it in your closet? They have these things. Yeah, we do that at our house. Oh, I love cedar. Those little boxes that you store stuff in.
It really makes a difference.
Oh, it does,
yeah. 404-537-2267 is our phone number here at the Happy Camper Radio Show. You can call Daniel and I any time of the day or night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We'd love to hear from you. Give us your feedback, your comments, anything you'd like to say about the show, your camping questions, and we'll get you on an upcoming episode and answer your camping question for you. Of course, if you'd like to respond by email, you can do that also by going to our website at www.happycamperradio.com. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/happycamperradio, /Happy Camper Radio, that is. And follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. Daniel, let's reflect a little bit on the 4th of July, like we really want to do that, but, you know, we were building up a good 4th of July holiday. What on earth happened?
Hey, I ran the Peachtree. That's the world's largest 10K that we do down in Atlanta. My first 10K. It didn't rain that time. It didn't rain throughout the morning when I did that. And I came back. We cooked some burgers. We cooked some hot dogs. The only thing that was missing is the fireworks.
Yes, but for the most part, we got rained out.
Well, we've been rained out the whole month of July.
Yeah, well, you know, this is what really was amazing is, you know, we those burgers and fries we cooked on the back grill were absolutely awesome, and I loved how you marinated those before we even got started.
Yeah,
you know, those burgers were fantastic, but the rain lit up just enough for us to go back there, fire up that grill, get our food cooked, and we pretty much hung out under the patio canopy that we had there.
Yep.
And that's pretty much was the extent of our 4th of July. For the rest of you out there, I hope your 4th of July holiday was a little more drier than the one that we had. There's a lot of celebrations that had to get canceled and postponed, the fireworks. And I know kids love those fireworks.
Yeah. So, you didn't even put your tent out this year, huh? You were all telling people that you were going to put your tent out, but it was so wet you didn't even put your tent out.
No, I had no intentions of actually going out there and putting up my tent. It was just, Daniel, it wasn't going to work. It really wasn't, you know, and not that I wouldn't mind sleeping in that tent, because I'm like you, when that rain comes in there, you know, you'll get your best sleep that you've ever had.
Definitely.
When you hear that rain just pattering down on your rain fly. And I experienced that here this past fall when I went camping up in the mountains. Yeah. And it was a really good experience. And, you know, it won't be the first time that I camped out in the rain. And it definitely won't be the last.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've got a great show lined up for all of our listeners here today. You know, a few weeks ago, we talked about moving firewood from one geographical area to another and why that is not always good. And in some cases, there are restrictions about that, and in some cases, it is against the law. Now, we do have that link on our website at happycamperradio.com. It's under Skip's Corner. Just click on the links page, and you're going to see a website there to don'tmovefirewood.org. That presentation that we did here about maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago it was. I really would have loved to have spent a lot more time on that, but there was a lot of useful information on there, and that's why I went ahead and included it on our website so our listeners can go there anytime and just go ahead and research that and find out why it is always good to purchase your firewood locally wherever you go. All right, but today, what I want to do? I want to talk about campfires. And being the fact that you managed to go ahead and get ours lit and did it in a timely manner, and we're just kind of kicking back and relaxing right now, even with all this rain outside, it's a good time to talk about campfires because the way I look at it, campfires are pretty much the heart and soul of your camping experience. I don't know about you, but, it's very difficult for me to camp. Now, let me ask you a question, Daniel. If you and your wife were to go camping this coming weekend, you say you've had a trip planned, and you found out you were going into an area where there was a burn ban in effect, whether it be a private or public campground, and you found out that you were not allowed to have a burning fire at your campsite because of that. Do you think you would change your mind and stay home, or would you actually go that weekend? How do you feel about that?
I'd make sure that my wife didn't see any of the signs or read anything about the restrictions because I'm building a fire.
Daniel,
I'll tell you that right now.
No, that's not the way it works. And,
I'm a rebel, Skip. You can't tame this beast.
No, you've got to obey the law. But for me, I would still go camping. I would. That wouldn't hinder my ability to go out and camp at all. But it would put a damper on it.
When we went to Disney a couple years ago, they didn't have any place to build a fire. But I found out this year.
Did you wear your Mickey Mouse hat?
No, that's what my wife does. She's into that. We buy one every time we go there. I might get one this time. But anyway,
get me a picture. We got to put it on the website.
Okay, I'll get. Oh. Trust me,
incidentally,
that campsite is awesome.
Incidentally, where is that camper? It's still a big void in your driveway, and I'm waiting for that to come back. I want to see all the little improvements and everything they made. Or is it going to be big improvements for as long as it's been away?
Well, here's the deal. They said, I called them the other day, and they said, it's going to be 3 more weeks. And then I was talking to my boss at work, and he said, well, if you don't have your pop-up back, you can just use mine. So... If worse comes to worse, I'll just go over to my boss's house and use
Are you getting track lighting put in there?
Yeah.
A waterbed?
No. They're just backlogged. Skip, they're the only RV retailer / mechanic for pop-ups and trailers in this area.
I'll bet there is a 55-inch flat panel TV going in that RV. And it wouldn't pass. I wouldn't put it past.
That is a good idea, actually.
Yeah,
that is a good idea.
No, but I'm looking forward to seeing that camper come back, and I know you're waiting on that also, so you can take that on down to Disney. But that's going to be a good trip. How long do you plan on going?
About a week. And what I was saying about the fire, you can bring your own. What's it called? Like your portable fire pit thing. You can bring that, but that's the only thing you can do. That's the only way you can have a fire. So
you got to bring a portable fire pit. I never heard of that.
Yeah, like the one you have in your backyard, like the one we used to sit up. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What do you call it?
A fireplace.
Oh.
In some cases, they're called chimneys.
There you go. That's what I need.
You've got to bring one of the. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I see what you're saying now. All right.
That's the only way you can have a fire.
But Daniel, what I was saying here, it would definitely put a damper on my plans if I couldn't have a fire, but that wouldn't stop me from going. Now, I do have a very high regard for the burn bans because, when I look at some of the wildfires out there, and let's take a look at what's happening out in Arizona right now. I mean, that's terrible.
Right.
That's you've got some tragedies that occurred out there. I'm sure you have a lot of people out there would just much rather be in a better place as a public campground rather than having to deal with that. But some of these fires get started, and they get started accidentally. They get started unnecessarily. And the bottom line, after things are all sorted out, in some cases, what you do, you may have somebody who was hiking on a trail who stopped, pitched a fire for the night, and didn't follow all the rules necessary to make sure that fire was properly extinguished.
Right.
And look what happens. So that's, I understand why there are burn bans, and I understand why there are laws out there that say, certain times of the year, depending upon windy conditions, depending upon the temperatures out there, why they do not allow campfires to be pitched. And I totally understand, and I agree with that. But for the most part, a lot of the campgrounds that I have been to have been exempt simply because a lot of them already have all the necessary elements needed, i.e. a fire pit, a fire ring, and they are cleared of debris. They are cleared of any type of natural elements out there that would prevent that fire from spreading. There are local campground here. I have been over there like in July and August. And take, for example, there's a burn ban over here where we live, but over there in that public campground, that's another story.
Oh, really?
I have been there at nighttime, and I have been there when there are a lot of folks out there camping, and just the park is just about full. And almost every single campsite, there is a fire going.
Oh, yeah.
The whole place glows. It's beautiful. And for me, when I get out there and I get in front of that fire, that is the most relaxing time for me. It allows me to get my head clear. It allows me to sit back and relax, think things out a little bit. I couldn't think of a more relaxing setting to be in.
Yeah, but you don't do anything in front of the fire. I do marshmallows. I do s'mores.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Popcorn. I do sandwiches. I just feel like I got to do something.
There is not a thing wrong with that, okay? For me, it's all about meditation. It's about relaxing.
For me, it's about keeping it going. Keeping it high.
And I
Where's
keep
more wood?
And I keep my campfire going all the time, day and night. Now, that can be a little costly for a guy like me, especially if I'm going to be gone for an entire weekend, and I'm going to be burning the fire most of the day, and I'm going to be burning the fire into the early hours of the evening. Because if I purchase my wood locally, I'm going to be purchasing a lot of it. Some people just go to the local grocery store where they can buy a bundle that consists of maybe 5 or 6 logs wrapped up in a piece of plastic to keep it dry and everything.
Right.
That's not going to last you.
No,
it's not, and it's gonna cost you a whole lot more money. But if you touch base with your local campground before you head on out, a lot of them will have some resources available, because if they do not sell the firewood right there on site, they will be able to direct you to some distributors in the area. Some people who specialize in that, who spend their entire year knocking down trees, cutting them up, splitting them up, and selling them. And that's probably you're going to be your best bet if you want to go out there and purchase some firewood. Now, let's talk one thing about splitting firewood at camp. Now, I have done this before. And if you remember, Daniel, in our Boy Scout days, there were guidelines for splitting firewood. There would be a certain section of the campsite that would be set up and roped off.
Oh, yeah.
In maybe a 12 by 12 section. And if somebody was inside that little roped in area splitting firewood, the rule was you don't go in there.
Yep.
Because you have somebody in there swinging an axe, swinging a hatchet, and we know, and everybody doesn't have eyes in the back of their head. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are going to be absolutely positively safe. Now, I wouldn't recommend it at a public campground that you split firewood. Okay, but some people do. And it's important to be safe when you do that. Now, one of our listeners, Richard Tolzman, and by the way, Richard, thank you so much for emailing the show. Richard mentioned to us here in one of our episodes when we were talking about this subject matter, he had gone to a campsite where some friends come along and they brought their 6 kids. And one of the young lads decided he was going to go ahead and chop some firewood. So he picked up an axe and brought it down on an upright log with his right foot in line with the trajectory of the axe. Now, his left foot was behind his right foot, Now, Richard jumped right in there and quickly showed the young fella that he needs to have his legs spread apart so that if the axe misses the log, it will go down to the ground between his legs and not onto one of them. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and Richard, that's a good thing, and it's a good thing you were there to show this young fella. And it's so important because, especially if you got young kids there, don't think for 1 minute the kids are not watching you. The kids have their eye on you. The kids want to do what you do. Mm-hmm. And if that means building the fire, if that means cooking marshmallows, if that means splitting the firewood, you know, they're going to want to do that. And someday they're going to want to step up to the plate and do it without being watched. And it's important for us as adults to make sure that we step up and do our part at that young age to make sure that they know exactly what they are doing. And if we see them doing it the wrong way, like Richard did here, is to step in and show them the right way to do it. Because again, Daniel, I have been around for quite a long time. I have seen a lot of, and I hate to say accidents that happened, not only in my family, but also to other families at other campgrounds. And a lot of them happen needlessly. They don't have to happen. And I don't like the idea that, you know, that kids go in there without being shown the right way and the wrong way to do things. And they go out there and they start lighting the campfire. They light the lanterns. They light the tiki torches. They light the stoves, you know. And that's something that an adult should do. And if a child does it, it should be done only under adult supervision.
Well, so, I know, like when I was a Boy Scout, usually it'd be the senior scouts that would show the junior scouts, because I don't know if you know this, you probably do, but kids listen to other kids a lot more than they listen to adults.
Yeah, they're in touch with their peers.
Exactly. So basically, you would have like an older scout, like a Hard Scout or Eagle Scout, telling a tenderfoot or something, you know, how to do stuff and how things need to be done. And it was kind of like a mentoring thing. And, you know, you really listen to that guy.
Sure. You know, and you go into these things gradually with kids, too. You know, it's like, okay, now here's the match, here's the lighter, you go over here, you light the thing, blah, it's done. You know, no, it's not like that. You know, I like to show kids, and I've showed my kids too when we were building fires. You know, let them know right from the very start. Step A, okay, first of all, you only use dry or seasoned wood. That, you know, you don't cut down fresh trees and expect them to burn. They're not going to burn. All right, you want to use only dry and seasoned wood. And to start your fires and do it right, you want to build it with kindling wood. In other words, start with some small twigs and branches and everything and build that up till you get a fire going and build it to, you know, to the point where you can put some of the larger logs on it. And, you know, and we got into that discussion long before we decided we're going to go ahead and, all right, now let's go ahead and pull out the lighter, and here's how we do this. Now, Daniel, one of the things I want to point out too, you know, talking about building a perfect campfire, it's an art for me when I get out there, because I like building my campfire from scratch. Mm-hmm. Now, again, depending upon where you are camping, again, in some cases, it may be unlawful for you to go into the forest and pick up some of the fallen debris, as we'll call it.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the, you know, dead forest, the limbs and the logs and things like that, to actually pick that thing up and take it back to your camp. And I wouldn't know, I don't understand why people do that anyway, because to me, that's work. When I get out there, I want to relax. I want to take it easy. But it's always good to, you know, bring these things with you, purchase them locally like we talked about, and building that perfect campfire. People need to understand you never, ever, under any circumstances, use gasoline or charcoal lighter fluid for that purpose. Those accelerants are not designed. They were not made for the purpose of building a campfire. So right off the bat, I mean, I know sometimes you want to get out there and you want to get that fire going right away. All right, but that's what you're going to do, is you're going to take your time in doing it. So, you know, you want to start out with a small, very small. What I'm trying to say here, Daniel, is, you know, get some of your kindling wood, get some of your dry leaves and things like that, and you want to go ahead and put them inside your fire pit. And when you're comfortable, you can go ahead and get that lit. And as the fire increases, you know, you can go ahead and start adding maybe some of your larger logs on top of it, maybe some in 1 inch in diameter, and get it built up to the point where, you know, you've got a good going, manageable fire that sounds just like this.
Okay, now here's my question. how do you build your fire? Do you do a teepee? Do you do a log cabin? Do you I know there's another way where you take a big log and you put a bunch of little sticks beside it and you start it that way. How do you start your fire? What do you do as far as positioning your wood?
Well, traditionally, I have actually started out with a teepee type of design.
All right.
Yeah. And then, inserted my lit match inside the teepee.
Right.
And that has worked for me. Now, the log cabin design, I understand what you're saying there. And that's where you maybe take two of the small twigs or branches and lay them horizontally side by side, and then vertically on top of that, and kind of build that up there.
Right.
I have had more success with the teepee type of campfire.
Okay.
And and some of the things you need to be concerned about also, if you are going to a private or public campground, and they have fire pits there, and generally they do, or if not a fire ring, it's important that you utilize only those areas for the purpose of your campfire. Now, a lot of the recreation.gov sites that I have been to have fire rings, and that's the only place that you're going to be allowed to place your campfire. And Daniel, you talk about cooking over an open fire. Have you ever seen some of these fire pits that do have the grill on top of them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of move them out of the way just by moving the handle, and you can lower that down there, maybe put your coffee pot on top of it. Yeah, now I don't use those. I haven't. I mean, I just use the fire rings, specifically for, relaxing and sitting out there in front of a campfire. But, that's what they are used for. Now, in the event you are going to be going into an area, or let's just say you're going to be camping out in the wild, and you are going to find an area to build your campfire. First thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to make sure that your campfire is kept at a distance from any flammable items like your tents, any low-hanging trees and limbs. I would say you're going to build a fire pit that is maybe 8 feet in diameter. You're going to want to make sure that you have your shovel along with you. And if that means bringing your big shovel from home, or even one of these army type, that kind of fold in half, you're going to want to dig your fire pit out. And you're going to want to rake around that area. So you make sure that, if any of your branches or anything pop out of the fire, that doesn't catch something nearby on fire and cause your fire to spread. So you're going to want to make sure that you have your fire pit in place, and you want to choose something that's downwind. And, again, you want to keep the area clean. If you're going to be the campfire police, if you're going to be the one that's going to be in charge of that campfire, you want to make sure that you're going to be safe for each and every one of your guests out there. So make sure you rake around that area and make sure that the surrounding area is perfectly safe. Now, I always have said, make sure you have a water source on hand. Keep that shovel handy, because if the things get out of control, you can move quickly. You can step right there up to the plate.
I used to just step on the fire when it got out of control. Just stomp it out.
Well, Daniel, you can go ahead and do that, but it's not to me. It's not. No. And I don't think it's going to be a good idea if any of our fellow campers out there decide they're going to go ahead out there and stomp all over the fire. It's not going to work. All right. You want to go ahead and use the tools that you have handy to do that. And that would include, your water source, as well as, a rake or a shovel. So you can go ahead and make sure that fire is completely out. And again, you want to make sure that fire is manageable. Some people like to have a big blazing fire.
That's me.
Next
door.
Yeah, well, you still got that college attitude in mind. These big bonfires, Daniel. We're talking about camping. We're not on a college campus here.
I like it like Burning Man. Do you know what Burning Man is?
No.
Oh.
Well, what was Burning Man? Share us that with us.
It's something they do out west. I think they make a big old fire, and it's like a big tradition. They burn like this effigy of a big old man, and they camp out. I think it's a hippie thing.
Well, that's back in the days, Daniel. And I'll tell you what,
no, they still do it today.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Not on any of the campgrounds I've been to. It's not going to work. 404-537-2267 is the number here at the Happy Camper Radio Show. If you'd like to give Daniel and I a call, today we're talking about campfires and campfire safety. Give us a shout anytime if you have any questions, or if you'd like to drop us an email, go to our website at happycamperradio.com, and you can click on any of the tabs up there, contact us, or email the show, and that'll put you directly in touch with Daniel and I here at the Happy Campers Radio Show. And right now, it is time for our featured campground of the week, and we've got a great one for you today here on the program. Okay, Daniel, we're going to go up north. Woohoo! We're going to venture right up north to the state of Vermont, where we're going to visit Winhall Brook.
That's where they make syrup, right?
It is a part of the Ball Mountain Lake run by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. If you like forest, if you like greenery, Daniel, this is the place to be. 111 sites, standard electric and standard non-electric sites. I had an opportunity to go through their webpage here just a little while ago, and just looking at some of the pictures makes me want to get in my car and drive up there right now.
Let's do it.
They're right in the middle of their season, and it's going to run all the way through October the 13th. And let me tell you something about Winhall Brook. This place right here, Daniel, if you love wildlife, if you want to take a look at some wildlife you probably have never laid your eyes on before, this is a place to be. We're talking about moose, white-tailed deer, black bear, bald eagles, owls, loons, woodpeckers, a variety of songbirds, waterfowl. They can all be found right here in this area. Winhall Brook in Vermont. Wow. Now, they've got some hiking and biking activities up there. There's some trails, 16 miles worth of trails. Bald Mountain Lake is nearby with fishing, hiking, scenic overlooks. Water is released from the dam to create a whitewater opportunity for rafting and kayaking every September. They've got a lot of amenities there, too. They've got an amphitheater, some educational programs. Firewood right there is available, too. What are we talking about today? Picnic shelters, multi-use court, horseshoe pits, and they have got a lot of things there, especially for the kids. And it's a great place to visit. Take a look at their facility map, and you'll see right there that they have a pretty good layout where they have campsites that sit on the Winhall River. In fact, there's a variety of them, and they've got some walking trails nearby. But for the most part, like I says, if you're looking for shade, if you're looking for a green forest, this is the place to be. Check their date range availability. They do have a lot of spots available, but a lot of them are pretty much reserved already. So you're going to have to go to the website here and take a look and see what they have available. And again, this is one of the sites that I do like to visit on the recreation.gov site, because when you click on any one of their particular campsites, you get a photograph that shows you exactly what you're going to be moving into when you go camping there. And that's a great thing to take a look at there. A lot of the weekday availabilities are there if you want to go camping. Some of the weekends are reserved. But again, you can feel free to browse through that website, and you'll find it here all week long on our website at www.happycamperradio.com. It will be under the featured campground link. It's Whitehall, Vermont. It is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground that you would like Daniel and I to feature on the program, all you've got to do is drop us an email, skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. Make sure you include a link to the campground website, so in case we decide that we're going to go ahead and feature it as one of our featured campgrounds, we can put it right there on our homepage at happycamperradio.com. Well, Daniel, that's about going to wrap things up for you and I here at the Happy Camper Radio Show. It's great being along here with you. You want to know something? We've got Harper in the studio with us today.
I know, he's passed out.
I'll tell you what, I thought I heard him yawn there a little bit ago.
Hey, put him to sleep. We're that bad.
Hey, he's a happy camper.
Yeah, he is.
I don't care what his owner has to say about it. Anyway, catch us online anytime at www.happycamperradio.com. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And yes, my friends, you can be one too. Have a safe one out there. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.